Wrong father to threaten. Gentlemen, how an IT single dad rescued the woman CEO who fired him. David Rourke had never been the type to cause a scene. A widowed single dad, he spent his days working long hours in the IT department of Stratos Corp, and his nights helping his daughter Emma with homework. His job wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. Until one cold Friday afternoon, he was called into the office of Claire Ashford, the iron-willed CEO of Stratos, known in the press as the Ice Queen of Wall Street. She didn't waste time on pleasantries. "Mr. Rourke," she said briskly, "the company is restructuring. Your position is no longer required." It stung. David had given 7 years to the company. He gathered his things quietly, nodded once, and left. Emma noticed the heaviness in his eyes that night, but he reassured her with a small smile. "We'll be fine," he told himself. But fate has a twisted sense of humor. 3 nights later, David was in the underground garage of a downtown hotel, picking Emma up from a friend's birthday party. He was heading toward his car when muffled voices echoed against the concrete walls. He paused, a woman's voice familiar, sharp cut through. "Stay away from me." I said no. David turned the corner and froze. Claire Ashford, the very woman who had fired him, was cornered by 2 men in suits. They weren't drunkards or thugs. Their calm, deliberate movements screamed professionals. One of them grabbed her arm. "You've made enemies, Ms. Ashford. Smart people don't say no to our employer." David's chest tightened. He could walk away. She had taken his job, his livelihood. She wasn't his problem. But then he thought of Emma. What would I want a stranger to do if that were her? He stepped forward. "Let her go." Both men turned, eyebrows raised. Claire blinked in shock. "You," she whispered. The taller thug smirked. "And who the hell are you supposed to be?" David's voice dropped, cold and deliberate. "Wrong father to threaten, gentlemen." Before they could react, David moved. He wasn't just some gibby for his desk job. He had spent 8 years in the Marines' cyber ops unit, trained not only in code but in close-quarters combat. A swift elbow to the throat dropped the first man, gasping. The second lunged, but David sidestepped, slamming him against the concrete pillar and twisting his wrist until a knife clattered to the ground. Within 30 seconds, both were down, groaning. Defeated. Claire stared, stunned. How? David didn't waste time. He grabbed her arm, not rough, but firm. "We need to move. More could be coming." They made it to his car, and only once the doors locked did her icy facade crack. She was shaking. "They were sent by a rival board member," she whispered. "I refused to sign off on a deal. I didn't think it would come to this." David looked at her, the woman who had cost him his job, and sighed. "Next time, maybe don't fire the one guy who knows how to keep you alive." For the first time. She laughed a shaky, unguarded laugh. The next morning, Claire Ashford did something no one expected. She reinstated David at Stratos, not as an IT grunt, but as head of security. "Why me?" he asked. "Because," she replied softly, meeting his eyes, "when everyone else saw me as expendable, you didn't. And last night, you proved you're the one man I can trust." Emma would later joke that her dad had saved a queen, but for David, it wasn't about revenge, or even the new job. It was about doing the right thing even for someone who had wronged him. Because sometimes, the right fight finds you, and sometimes, it turns out the fired IT guy is the deadliest man in the room. How an IT single dad rescued the woman CEO who fired him. David Rourke sat across from Claire Ashford's desk, his jaw set but his hands steady. The office gleamed with chrome, glass, and cold precision, just like the woman who ran it. "Mr. Rourke," Claire said, her tone clipped, "the restructuring leaves no place for your department. You'll receive severance, but your position is terminated, effective immediately." David gave a tight nod. 7 years reduced to 1 sentence. He thought about Emma, his 10-year-old daughter, and how he'd break the news. He wanted to argue, to ask why him, but he saw in Claire's steel blue eyes that it wouldn't matter. "Thank you for the opportunity," he said simply. Gathering his things, Claire raised an eyebrow. "That's all you have to say?" "I've learned that saying more doesn't change anything," David replied. His voice was calm, but a storm brewed underneath. 3 nights later, David parked in the underground garage of the Hotel Altera. He was there to pick up Emma, who had just finished a birthday sleepover in one of the suites. The garage was half lit, humming with the echo of water dripping from pipes. Then he heard it. "Stay away from me." I said no. The voice was sharp, defiant and familiar. He followed the sound, moving quietly, until he rounded the corner. Claire Ashford, the woman who had fired him, was pinned between 2 tall men in suits. Not drunkards, not muggers too controlled for that. One leaned close to her, murmuring threats. "You've made powerful enemies, Miss Ashford. You either sign or you bleed." David's muscles tensed. He could walk away. She had cost him his livelihood. She wasn't his responsibility. But then he imagined Emma in Claire's place, terrified, helpless, and his decision was made. He stepped forward. "Let her go." Both men turned, surprised. Claire's eyes widened. "You?" she whispered. The taller thug sneered. "Walk away, old man. This isn't your business." David's expression hardened. His voice dropped into a dangerous calm. "Wrong father to threaten. Gentlemen." The first thug lunged. David sidestepped, driving his elbow into the man's throat. He collapsed, gagging. The second thug swung a knife, but David deflected, twisting his arm until the blade clattered on the concrete. With a swift knee to the ribs, the man crumpled. 30 seconds. Both were down. Claire stared, her facade cracking. What are you?" "Just an IT guy," David muttered, scanning the shadows. "Let's move. There might be more." He guided her toward his car, one hand firm on her arm. His senses sharp. Inside the car, Claire trembled, her hands gripping the dashboard. For the first time, the untouchable CEO looked human. "They were sent by Victor Halloway," she whispered. "Board member. He wants me out so he can push through a merger with weapons contractors." I refused. David glanced at her. "And you thought firing people like me would keep you untouchable?" She flinched. His words hit harder than the thug's fists. "You should have walked away," she said quietly. David started the engine. "That's not who I am." The next morning, the city buzzed with rumors. Claire Ashford had been targeted in an attack, but she told no one about David. Instead, she called him into her office, this time not as an underling. "You saved my life," she admitted. "Why?" David shrugged. "Because it was the right thing to do. I misjudged you." She paused. "I want you back. Not in it. Head of security. Report directly to me." David blinked. "You're offering me a promotion after firing me." Claire gave a rare smile. "Consider it an adjustment in perspective." David accepted, though not for money or prestige. He knew men like Halloway wouldn't stop, and Claire cold, ruthless. But strangely, Principal needed someone who could stand between her and the wolves at night. Emma would curl up beside him on the couch, wide-eyed as he told her about his new boss. "Is she nice now, Daddy?" David chuckled. "She's learning," and deep down, Claire Ashford had learned a truth of her own. Sometimes the strongest ally is the one you underestimated, because the quiet it guy she discarded wasn't just a single dad. He was the wrong father to threaten.